Cool. Okay, so we should be recording. All right. So, guys, this is the end of week 6. So, the little discussion topic that I'll be teaching you about today is gesture drawing. So, from what sort of what are your impressions of gesture drawing so far? Like, what do you think it's useful for, or have you tried it? Have you gotten any difficulties with it?
It was just for me when we were doing the 30-second ones, it
Hmm.
was difficult to finish it in time.
Yeah, yeah,
But I
yeah,
could
yeah.
see how it would be good to just learn fast, I guess, from drawing it over and over and over again
Yeah,
in a
I'm
short amount of time.
Yeah, the you start off doing your 30-second poses, then 1 minute poses, five
Yeah,
minutes, 10 minutes. Now the reality is, nobody ever in the world would ever expect you to do a good drawing in 30 seconds or
yeah,
1 minute. That's not the point. The point is to sort of hone your skill down to what is completely essential. Because if I gave you an hour, maybe you would spend half that time just doing the most perfect eyeball, the most perfect eye, the most perfect
yeah,
nose. You know what I mean? So when you only have 30 seconds, you have to. It's like, okay, what's the bare amount of information that I can put down to show that this is a human figure. This is the emotion. The person is sad, happy, energetic, angry, all this kind of stuff. Um,
yeah,
if you can get something done in 30 seconds, you can get it even down clear, more clear in 1 minute, 5 minutes, then 10 minutes. So it's just helping you cut the fat and get to the point quicker in your drawings. So that's one way that it's really helpful. Um, so the second part of it is also another part of it is also to try and loosen you up. The drawings are purposely done in a short amount of time, so you don't really have time to overthink. So and it keeps you moving fast, keeps you loose, and that's the point of it. Um, it's a technique employed a lot by animators, right? So you've seen a lot of gesture drawings tend to be very flowy, right? They're very sort of very flowy, very expressive. I'm just going to go onto my Pinterest and pull up some examples. Let's have a look. So also, I have a Pinterest account, which you guys can be checking out stuff on. So so all this kind of stuff, like you'll notice, even if you look at the old Warner Brother cartoons,
yeah,
Disney cartoons, they're always super flowy and super exaggerated, right? Now, the point of this, because there's sort of two sort of philosophies. Some because the human body is not this flowy, like it's not, right. It's the human body it is flowy, it is curvy, but it's a bit more rigid. So gesture drawing is it's a technique and it's a philosophy of purposely exaggerating and accentuating motion. Maybe you're when you see a dancer, right? And there's the perfect there's a perfect pose to show the full motion of a dance, right? But if you take this picture like 1 second a bit later, like you look really awkward, right? Like within any sort of dance move, there's like one or two choice shots, and then the rest looks, you're halfway through like a hip bump or whatever, right? So let's say you did get a sort of a pose that wasn't quite there, a pose that was like for reference, it was almost there. Like you would use techniques from gesture drawing to push and really sell the this guy is about to leap off the ground and fly, or that kind of thing, what else? Yeah. So I've heard some artists who are more into realism say that no, I actually, I purposely am avoiding this technique. I don't want my figures to look flowy and stylized. I am going for a much more realistic approach, and it's a conscious choice, and that's okay. And there are people who say, like, a lot of like comic book artists, a lot of animators who would say, oh, real life, why would I want it? If I want real life, I'll just use a camera. I'm supposed to be showing things that are larger than life.
Yeah.
So, it's just something to be conscious of. If you do want to go for more realistic, or you do want to go more energetic and stylized, like this drawing over here, like that's totally not realistic, but it's got a lot of energy and it's got a lot of flow, and it's a personal. Some people would think, oh, I don't like it. I personally think that's pretty sick, but yeah, it's just something that you yourself can choose, and maybe you draw a little bit stylized for one project and a bit more realistic for another project, or you mix and match and all that kind of stuff. So that's a little bit about the philosophy behind it. So I want to get into some demos, right, and show you what I'm talking about. So how I approach this kind of thing. So Matt, you've already done some drawings from week 5, that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
when you begin, how do you start with like the head or the shoulders or arms or
Well,
angles or
I just followed what you said in another video, and
right,
that was
right,
with, you said the rigid parts, the rib cage
yeah, yeah,
and the pelvis,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
I build on from there
yeah, yeah.
because
Did
that
that
makes
did,
a lot of sense to me.
that helped? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I always feel that like I start in different ways depending on if I'm doing something from imagination or I'm doing something from life. Um, so when I'm doing something from like life, like if I got a model posing right in front of me, the first things I do is I note the relationship between the shoulders and the hips, right? And you'll notice that a lot of time when the body is at rest, you will see that the shoulders will always be at a different angle to the hips. So like if the hips are going, in this direction, then the body will naturally try and balance itself off by moving the shoulders in that direction. Same sort of deal over here. You can see that while the hips are very obviously going at that angle, the shoulders have to balance themselves out for that in that way. So first thing off, if you want your characters to have a more sort of naturalistic, sort of at rest kind of pose, like if the character is not in the middle of falling down, the character is like standing or just chilling or whatever. Um, Setting the angles of the shoulders and the hips at opposites will help give you that sort of naturalistic feel. So that's things first. So first things I note down the relationship between the shoulders and shoulders and pelvis, and then I start to try and look for the line of action or the sort of the flow of the piece. So as I can see over here, I'll start with this model first, right? The flow, as you can sort of see an imaginary line kind of go like this, right? Going down her spine.
Yeah.
It tends to follow the actual line of the spine. So there's that kind of line. So I'll then there's the shoulders, and then this is something I do. And then with the legs. Now, if we look at the legs, in real life, you see there's all these different bumps. There's a bump there, then it curves, and there's another bump, and the skin is full of all these different bumps and all that kind of stuff, right? But if I wanted to simplify and stylize, I could like sort of simplify this whole leg to like just one line, right? Or even just like this kind of one quick curvy line, kind of thing like that. So I'm intentionally going like, all right, cool, like that kind of line there, that kind of line here. And you find like if you do this live, you can do it with a big easel. You'll find yourself like making like little sound effects, kind of thing. Like this arm over here, though we can see that there's a shoulder bump here, then it goes like this, and it's a curve and all that kind of stuff. In its simplest terms, again, if I only had like again a few seconds to show this, again, it's this line, like that line, and then another, that cut, you know?
Yeah.
And same thing over here. We can see that, it kind of goes this way a little bit, a little bump there, a little bit of bump there, but in its simplest terms, it's just like this one straight line. That kind of goes for the arm, kind of thing. So it's sort of so that's how I do it. That's how I would lay my groundwork out first. I go, all right, cool, shoulders, hips, connect with that line. All right, cool, and then in any order, I would go, okay, arms, that sort of thing, like that, and with the legs, one line there, another line there, and I've basically, and then I've gotten like my basic sort of like structure of the body, and then I can go in, and so then I would go in and start to, like, okay, maybe I put it, start to refine, put in all the muscles and put in all the actual curves, and choose where to curve, choose where to make things straighter. Like over here, we can see again, we have all these bumps, and it goes into her bra, and the fabric of the bra, and her hip. I could just simplify the whole thing to just like that sort of line, like that. Over here, again, same sort of thing. I'll start off with shoulders, then the pelvis, and then again over here, you can see. What do you reckon that line would be? The curve. So like I can sort of see like from the head, right? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I would sort of see from the head. There's like this sort of curve going throughout the figure.
Yeah.
It's like that, and then again, leg is pretty much straight down, and then make that line, make that line. Over here, we can see that there's like, also, you see how the body is kind of curving, right? When you have this sort of thing, always take note that when this side becomes elongated, this side has to pinch, right? Same thing like when you move your neck, right? Like if this side is long, then the neck has to kind of pinch a little bit. You can see, so you take note just to make things look more realistic. This one is longer, then this got to pinch. Same sort of thing like that, and then I would fill in the details. I'll show you some other pictures. First off, does that sort of make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you wind up with this sort of like really kind of quick thing. So even so, if I'm just doing it from imagination, I could just go, and again, it looks very sort of kind of fast, choppy, kind of cartoony, but it's very sort of to the point sort of thing. And then you can put in all your details and you refine. And also something I find very helpful is I will do my construction in like a light blue or light red pencil. So, and then I go on top with like my black line. So let's have a look at some other drawings. Again, same sort of deal. So in this figure, you can see a very strong, very strong, very obvious line that goes all the way through there. Yeah, like all the way through there, kind of thing. So there's that line, and then over here, again, we can see how if this side is straight, then this side has to pinch, right?
Yep.
Because she's bending. So I sort of see, again, I'm looking for, even I sometimes will squint my eyes a little bit, and that helps me cut out all the fat.
Yeah.
If you squint, even from life, I said, okay, yeah, okay, what do I do? Oh yeah, because this is definitely becomes very straight. I can see them, bam, like one cut, another cut. You know, this leg, um, I would say this side is completely straight. This side would have two cuts, like one cut, and then I curve it around. Over here, again, you have all these kind of bumps, but I'm just going to simplify it and go like that. Bam, bam, bring it down, and then I had that little curve. Also, I'd like you guys, something I noticed in a lot of some of the drawings, something I'll point out about legs. So this is the knee, right? And you'll notice that the way the muscles are aligned on the legs, right? So this is the knee. We have the shin, right? Your shin bone over here. The side of your leg is actually it's actually higher on one side than it is on the other. So you'll notice that you'll actually have like the way the muscles are aligned. You can even like take a look at your own leg. This side will always be higher than that side. And even on this leg, if we had the muscles, which is you can see over here, I can just draw the muscles. The muscles look something like that. I don't know. I don't know by memory exactly, but it's something like that. But again, this muscle is higher than this muscle. So again, when you're drawing the legs, you'll have. So here's like a knee. You'll have like that, shin, and then you'll have that side going higher, that side going higher like that. So that's like there. But the thing is, they then reverse when you get to your ankle. You'll see over here that. Let's have a look if I can see it. Let me see it over here. Yeah, so if this side is higher and that side is higher as well, right? The ankle will flip and this side is actually higher. So the same. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
And also again, when you're drawing limbs, I think it was in your post, Matthew, that
Yeah.
you'll see that the arms taper inward. You'll see how that it's thinner here and thicker over here. So when you're drawing the arm, make sure you have that going inward thing, and it gives more realism. Same thing with the legs; they curve in on themselves and get smaller over there. Back to that. Yep. So again, take if the shoulders are going this way, hips are going that way, like in another direction, and then yes, it's like arms. So you can kind of make. So again, in my initial lay-in, in my blue or my red pencil, I'd make these kind of very quick, jagged sort of marks, right? Quick line. I make that curve, and then after the fact, I'd go in with like my black line, and I would start to maybe like refine stuff out with my black line. So I have my. So if you want to do, if you want to go do a more finished drawing, then you go on top of it, and then you go in and put the muscles and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Any questions so far?
No. All makes sense.
Cool. All
Nothing
right.
from me.
Yeah. So, got this sumo guy, sumo wrestler. So again, is there any sort of like strong shape that sticks out at you? Like how would you approach this one?
I guess the torso.
Yep. It's also that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So again,
Yeah.
like I can see again there's all these sort of bumps, right? Bumps. But again, in its most simplest terms, I would say the arm is basically got this one straight line like that. And again, kind of a straight line, kind of a straight line there, straight line there. It's almost like this big V, right?
Yeah.
Like a big
Yeah.
fat V. But yeah, you have that. And then even the legs, like line, line. And something that is helpful, that really helped me, is just go online and get a bunch of like these images and sort of see how you would tackle them. And again, what I'm teaching is everybody, the way people do different line drawings, it's sort of like it's sort of unique to each person. So this is my way, and if my way doesn't work for you, then like, totally feel free to like, if you can get a really cool looking drawing in the end, then it doesn't matter, you know.
Yeah.
So the deal. So again, I sort of again look into my center line, and then I sort of see, okay, there's like a line there, and then again, then I'll put it on my details and that kind of thing. This method can even apply to hands. I mean, hands are very difficult, right? But you can actually simplify them with the same method, right? If I'm looking at this hand, I can just say, okay, I've got to make that sort of line. I got to make that sort of line, right? Palm's going to be like that, and then you can see this line going like that, and then I connect my fingers in there. So it doesn't have to be as complicated as well. Again, over here, I can make one line like that, one line like that, to kind of get it. What else we got? Another sumo. Yeah, okay, so this lady. Let's do another example. And also, if you guys, just for the moment, is there, if there's any sort of particular photo or pose that you guys have seen that you couldn't really figure out, you can send it to me now, and I'll have a crack at it if you got any difficulty.
They were on that site that we were using, but I don't know how to find the exact one.
Yo, the Pixel Lovely?
Yeah.
Yeah, that site's really cool. Like, for future reference, I would just like pause it, take a screen grab,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
I think you can even just right click and save.
Okay.
It's a very good resource. So again, over here, again, if I'm looking at the hips are going in that direction, shoulders in that direction, and then we can see now once you do that, you see a very obvious line that connects everything, right? That.
Yep.
And then again with the legs, it's pretty much straight. There's a curve there, a cut there. With the arms, cut, line, cut. So it's a very yeah. Again, the idea is it's supposed to be efficient. Like it's a very sort of like almost like a robotic sort of. It's basically like it's like note taking. Like I've only if you're doing like an interview with someone and you got to like write down notes very fast. Like it's just sort of like a visual shorthand for yourself. And then again here, line, and then you've got the framework down for yourself, and then after the fact, you can go in and and then you go in and put all those bumps in to show that it's more humanoid and not so, because it's all these individual little bumps that make us, like the human body is not perfect. It's got bumps everywhere, and all these kind of the shaky line is what's going to give you a more sort of realistic look to it. So it's almost like it's sort of like it's a combination. You can get your energy with the gesture drawing technique, and then you refine it with this sort of like shaky hand technique. What else do I got? A lot of examples. Oh yeah, again, super obvious. Like, do you guys want me to do any more examples, or do you think you got it? Like,
Yeah, makes sense.
yeah.
I think I've got it.
Yeah, again, over here, so I'll just quickly go. What can I talk about this one? Oh, right, yeah. So if you, there's a sort of, I'll talk about another little philosophy, which is sort of like, lines are more masculine and curves are more feminine, right? So I've heard some character designers also like sort of straight lines and squares are very rigid, very masculine,
Yep.
and curves and spheres, egg shapes are very very feminine. So I've heard some people say that, oh, like I when they were doing their construction, because they wanted to make it purposely feminine, they would only use curves and only use spheres, and because you know how you can construct the rib cage out of a cube, or you can construct it out of a more ovoid, almost egg shape kind of thing as well. Like you can purposely only use blocky structures or curvy structures. You're trying to imply masculinity or femininity. Again, if you can even flip it. If you have a male character, but your point is you want to make him look more feminine, or a female character you want to make her look more tough. You can sort of design with that in mind. You can make her more blocky or him more flowy, kind of thing. So over here, like, if back to the gesture stuff, you could, like, again, if I wanted to make it more rigid, I would say, like, there's that line right there, and I could, that. Oh, also another philosophy is like, like when drawing limbs, if you make one side really straight, then you can have liberty to make the other side curve like that. So like if I was drawing this arm, I can make this arm pretty straight, and this one is the one that has the bump, like that. Or over here, you can make that side straight, and this side has the curve, or that side straight, and this side have the bump, kind of thing like that. So it's just an idea that some animators will use when they're trying to vary up their lines between like straight, and then you have your curves, kind of thing. So yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yep.
What else do I got? Yeah, I think I'm just repeating myself now. I think we got it. Like, yeah, same thing. Straight line. Make sure it pinches over here, kind of thing. So again, if I use straight line for that, make sure I've got a curvy line on the other side.
Yeah.
Straight line here, make sure it curves here, or straight line there, make sure it curves underneath. But yeah, it's also, if you go to my Pinterest, which is pinterest.com /Eddie Udo, I've got a whole bunch of resources going on over here. And one of them is a gesture drawing board, so you can sort of see, and even within the gesture drawing board, there's a lot of variation. Some people are a bit more. Let's have a look. Some people are more rigid. Some people are more fluid. So there's a whole bunch of examples. So there's no one right way to do it. So again, like the method that I showed you today, like, have a go, try it. But if it doesn't like ultimately work for you, you don't, you can keep experimenting. Like this one over here, I would say it's pretty loose, but it's pretty blocky. It's definitely much more blocky. You could even see that like he's used more blocks in like the pelvis and the rib cage. This kind of thing is way flowy, you know. So yeah, have a look at that, and yeah, have experiments and try stuff out, and yeah, that's super. So you can, I guess it's all like a spectrum. One end is like super loose, on the other side is very rigid, but you can find your place within it. Cool. I think that's all I got to say. Just a quick lesson today. Any questions before we go?
Nothing
No.
from me.
Cool. All right, guys. So good luck
Sweet.
with your assignments and all that kind of
Thanks.
stuff. And yeah, so next week will be a study week. So
Sweet.
yeah, study week. So I don't know. I would I'll actually ask. Okay, so why do both of you why did what are you both interested in drawing? Like, is this you want to be 3D modeler guys? You want to be 2D animation guys, or what is it that got you into this thing in the first place?
Uh, I
For
guess
me, I've been
you go
doing
first.
3D modeling for a long time,
Right,
and now I'm just recently deciding I'm considering getting into 3D characters because I usually do hard surface things,
right,
but I can't do the anatomy very well, so
right,
I think drawing is the best way really to
hmm
learn. I think to
right.
do the 3D
Yeah, yeah,
characters
yeah.
and whatnot
So
to learn the anatomy
is
and
it
stuff.
like humanoid things or aliens or animals or
I'm
monsters or
thinking humans mostly.
yeah?
Yeah.
And yourself, Mike?
Um, yeah, I guess three. I'm new to the whole thing. But I just like animation and
Right,
all the
right.
Pixar stuff, and I had the time this year, so I thought I'll just enroll in the course and the animation diploma and give it a
Sure.
go, even though I've never drawn.
Right, right, right.
Yeah, I'm just curious and
So there's
probably not looking to get a job doing it,
right.
just doing it for a hobby.
I gotcha. I
Yeah.
gotcha. So something that I would recommend, I recommend my students do during the study week is okay. So throughout the course, you're assigned certain tasks. You're kind of forced to do this sort of thing. And I've heard people say, "Oh, I don't really want to draw a building. I don't really want to draw animals or whatever." So I'd say, okay, like whatever it is that interests you, like whatever it is that got you into this, or that you want to learn to draw, if it's characters, if it's flowers, if it's cars, if it's whatever. Um, Apply all these techniques to that, and you'll learn so much
Yeah.
faster when
Mm.
you're genuinely interested. Um,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
really myself. I really love the human figure and people and faces and all this kind of stuff. But I have no interest in cars or buildings whatsoever. So I found that
Yeah.
so hard to learn because I had no attachment to it. But figure drawing was like it was like second nature and super simple. Like, oh, that's obvious, isn't
Yeah.
it? But like again, so whatever it is that you like, I would just spend that week just doing that, free of anybody telling you what to do.
Yeah.
If you like comic books, if
Yeah.
you like Pixar, like get some Pixar characters and like figure out how they're constructed. You know, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you can trace on top of it and try and see where the cylinders fit in, where the spheres fit in, or comic books or whatever it is. Just have fun and learn with
Sweet.
that kind of way.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll just leave you guys with this nice picture, and we'll see you later. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. See you guys.
Cheers.
Yeah.